I've been playing Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles on Tactician in my free time for about 3 weeks now. The same goes for my IRL friends that are also approaching the internet boomer age category. And since I was asked what kind of builds I'm running in my playthrough, as a responsible adult I decided to make a video for this, so I can geek out about mechanics and math in the game. So enjoy the bonus content. Trigger warning. This video contains some mathematical formulas and large amount of multiplications. Agrias can join your party quite early in the game, in chapter 2. So my idea for this video was to go over her builds in each of the chapters she's available in, and show you how to maximize her potential and plan job progression. All story characters have access to their own unique starting job. In the case of Agrias, it's a Holy Knight. In terms of basic stats, growth rates and available equipment, there's nothing exceptional except her natural physical evasion rate of 25%. Which is on par with Thief. Her unique ability is on the other hand something different. So let's start from here. Holy Swords gives us access to quite a wide array of skills, with excellent damage scaling, big range and many additional effects. Those effects have a fixed rate of 25% of successful application. So this isn't exactly something we can plan around, but it can be a nice surprise if it happens. To use Holy Sword skills, Agrias needs to be equipped with a sword, or in late game a Night Sword, which limits her options a little, but her raw power easily counteracts those small downsides. Now it's time to look at the skills that make her the damage monster through most of the game. Agrias starts with Judgment Blade, learned by default. It's an okay skill, mostly due to the chance of inflicting stop on the targets. Damage, at least as for her, is not great, since it has the formula of physical attack times 2 plus weapon damage, and the range is only 2. You should quickly upgrade her damage potential by learning Hold Bolt. It has a damage formula of physical attack times 4 plus weapon damage and a range of 3. It also has a 25% chance of inflicting silence to its targets. You can also hit targets with an elevation difference of 1, which comes up quite often during the fights. This will be your primary attack for most of the game. But before moving on to different job classes, you should also learn Divine Ruination. It's a line attack, with a damage formula of physical attack times 5 plus weapon damage, and a range of 5 with vertical elevation tolerance of 2. This one has a chance of applying confusion to the targets, but it should be used as a long-range nuke to target enemy backliners. Now it's time for some common mechanics. Holy Sword skills, despite the name, do not deal holy damage. They all use weapon element. So when Agrias is equipped with Icebrand, everything will deal ice damage, and so on. They also have a 100% hit rate and ignore enemy dodge value, which makes Agrias the great unit to launch deep into enemy formation and focus on high priority targets, like summoners. And her job progression will focus on maximizing her potential in that role. After we get our crucial skills in Holy Knight, we should switch her job to Regular Knight. She does not gain much from here, but has a natural access to required equipment and a nice physical attack growth rate. Our first learning choice here is Parry Reaction ability. We will also use one of the Knight's support abilities later, Equip Sword to be exact. So it should be second on the learning list. In my opinion, you can skip learning any Arts of War on Agrias. Her Holy Sword skills will almost always be better choice in combat scenarios. But I would recommend reaching level 4 before moving to the next job down the line, Monk. This job has quite good growth rates not only in physical attack, but also speed and HP. So it's quite nice to grab a few character levels here alongside job level. Having a base physical evasion rate of 20% is also a boon for the frontline character. To maximize effectiveness here, we need to slot Equip Sword in our support ability. That will grant us access to Holy Sword skills alongside martial arts. Speaking of martial arts, offensive ones are weaker than skills provided by Holy Sword, with the exception of Shockwave, which has a massive range of 8. Other than that, you should prioritize more supporting skills: Chakra, Revive and Purification. If you're feeling adventurous, switch parry to counter in terms of reaction abilities for more damage at the cost of defenses, or even Fierce Strike if you want to grind JP for it. Monk will be probably the last class you can level before reaching Chapter 3. I strongly recommend reaching level 5 here for the future. The next step in our chosen job progression is the Geomancer. And for me this was Agrias' main class for a while. There are some good reasons for that. The most glaring one is Geomancer's key basic stats: move of 4 versus Holy Knight's 3, and basic speed of 8 versus speed of 6. The second one is Geomancer equipment selection. Alongside the ability to wield swords and shields, we have access to clothes and hats. And that means having the ability to wear headgear and headband, as well as Jujitsu-Ji and Power Guard. Those boosts our physical attack value, which is very important in damage calculation of Holy Sword skills. In the early stages of Chapter 3 you also have access to Aegis Shield. While it gives only 10% physical evasion rate, it grants a substantial 50% versus magic. You should equip it on encounters with a lot of spellcasting enemies. Now it's time to talk about the main reason we even unlocked Geomancer. The support skill Attack Boost. It applies a flat 33% multiplication to damage calculations for physical skills. This bonus is added before Zodiac compatibility is calculated, so against perfect compatibility targets, Agrias the mage numbers can reach quite stupid values. For example, while wielding a simple mithril sword with weapon power of 7 and having a physical attack value of 11, Hallowed Blade deals 11 times 4 plus 7, so 121 damage at the baseline. This translates to 91 against poor compatibility and 181 at perfect compatibility. With Attack Boost, our baseline damage jumps to 161, so 120 at poor and 241 at perfect compatibility. At this point in the game, this can one-shot most spellcasters. Unfortunately, Geomancer job skills are quite lackluster. Their damage is based on fixed formula of magic attack times physical attack divided by 2 plus 1, which is not exactly favorable for our build. Agrias will have some magic attack, especially while wielding Rune Blade and Aegis Shield, but you can always get better scaling with Holy Sword. Geomancy, however, is not entirely useless, since it does not have vertical limitation for its attack, is instant, and ignores target fate values, also has a base hit rate of 100%. On maps with massive elevation differences you can use this to pick off wounded enemies. With this basic setup out of the way, we can focus on fine-tuning our build. If you're lucky and spill over JP from characters leveling in Archer unlocked Thief for Agrias already, it should be quite easy to get her the best movement ability for female units, movement plus 2. Not to mention we want to reach level 5 to unlock Ninja. If you want to grab some character levels in Ninja, it's not a bad idea. High evasion, great basic speed and movement, and also great growth rate for physical attack and speed. The problem lies in reduced damage from Holy Sword skills, since our support slot will be occupied with Equip Sword instead of Attack Boost. However, basic attack damage will be greater since we can dual wield weapons. Nevertheless, we want one thing from this job: Reflexes reaction ability. This doubles the value of both physical and magical evasion rate. This means that while equipping Aegis Shield we reach 100% magical evade. And depending on the class, we can also easily reach 70% physical evade at the same time without any additional defensive equipment. There's a high chance that you'll approach the end of Chapter 3 at this point, so we can take a look at additional options down the line, in both Chapter 4 and at the endgame. We can dip into Samurai to get access to Shirahadori. You will want to have a highest bravery possible due to scaling of the Knight Sword, So equipping this will give you a flat 97+% physical evasion rate regardless of active jab. Other than that, I didn't find any useful options. Agrias is an offensive character and her unique job supports that playstyle quite well. So one of the two things left is maximizing her actual combat stats during leveling. Ninja will maximize her speed and physical attack growth rate, and should be quite easy to level due to the raw power of the class. If you want to have a little more defense, Monk will be a good alternative due to the decent mix of physical attack, speed and HP gains. Now it's time to set up her final battle loadout. Until you have access to Knight Swords, running Geomancer is an OK choice. With Runeblade and Aegis Shield, Agrias gains a nice +3 to her magic attack, which greatly boosts Geomancy damage. And we can equip her with headgear, power garb and bracers to get a flat +7 to her physical attack value. Here we should equip Shirahadori as her reaction, so our defense against physical attack will be quite high. After gaining access to things like Excalibur, Defender or Save the Queen, the situation changes quite dramatically. The raw boost in base weapon power of those swords really incentivize us to switch to a class that can equip them. Fortunately, Holy Knight is a quite good choice. So, my current serious loadout looks like this. Agrias runs Holy Knight as her main job class, with martial arts as her secondary active skills. As a reaction I stick to reflexes, you'll see why later. The support slot is reserved for attack boosts, and the movement skill slot is occupied by boring but exceptionally good movement +2. As far as gear goes, choices are quite simple. Get the highest weapon power Knight Sword you can. At this moment I'm running Defender here with 16 weapon power. But you can slot Excalibur or Save the Queen for nice buffs and even more power. The shield of choice is still the Aegis shield. With reflexes in our reaction slot and Holy Knight base evasion rate of 25, this nets us 70 physical evasion and 100 magical evasion rate, which, while not perfect, is quite fine for her role as a long-range damage nuke. In the head slot I've put Ribbon, since I'm lazy and I don't want to deal with random status effects. Armor is a little harder. The Holy Knight does not have access to clothes, so we need to substitute something for our power garb. For now I'm running Genji armor for HP, but later I plan to slot her with Robe of the Lords for +2 physical attack, and the accessory slot is occupied by Bracer for +3 physical attack. With this we have our unstoppable Maiden of Destruction ready. When deployed she should be sent to deal with the most dangerous targets, like summoners with their guaranteed to hit AoE nukes. She should be quite fine against most physical attackers, since she can outrange them and has a high evasion rate. And normal magic is a non-issue. But remember that your spells will not land on her, so don't waste turns on haste or quick. With this my rambling on the topic is over. I think I'll make at least a few more guides like this for other story characters. Let me know what you think in the comments, remember to like and subscribe. And I hope your free time is not destroyed as much by this game as mine. See ya in the next one.